Have you ever wondered about the technologies being used today in the digital transformation for the industrial space? Joining us today is Bhavyang Shukla, longtime telecommunications professional. He's going to be talking to us about the technologies he's used throughout his career and how he's adapted them to create efficiencies inside his world. Thanks for joining us. Let's get to it. So Bab, thanks again for joining me today. For me, this is really special, and I'll tell you why. 2006, 2007, I moved to Calgary, and end of 2008, 2009, you and I met. And we've known each other for a long time. We've had an opportunity to collaborate for a very long time inside of the telecommunications industry, and I've really appreciated your feedback and support in many different ways. And you know, it's really special to me because, in all honesty, you're my very first guest on TSI Today. So I think this is really special. We're going to be talking to a number of different guests throughout the year and that's coming about the different technologies that are used to drive the digital transformation inside of the industrial space. So really happy to have you here. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Chad.
So let's just jump right into it here. You've been in the tech industry for about 17 years now. If there was one technology that you could pick that you would say is the most influential that you've worked with in your career, what would it be?
I'd say the most influential is going to be the industrial automation. And don't get me wrong, industrial automation is a big term. But when we say industrial automation, there are a lot of stuff. There's remote operations, there's driverless vehicles, there are automated inspections. That means the industry a lot. So it's not just about the technology, what you are implementing, it is about what value you're driving out of that. That's important. So in a short term, I'll give you the answer as the automation, industrial automation.
Cool. We've had some time to work with a number of different things. I think one of the coolest things that have come out of that is likely the autonomous hauling. Some brilliant technology used inside there, whether it's a mesh network or point-to-point or all the cameras that are on the trucks that we're seeing going up and down through the mines today. How involved have you been inside those projects?
I've been involved right from the definition of the project. So yeah, at a very early stage, I started working on it. It's impressive. It is not just about a technology that wows people, that there is no driver in the truck and heavy haulers are driving around the mine. The first aspect to take the driver out of the heavy haulers is the safety. Safety is the number one consideration is there. Because those are the heavy haulers, those are like 3 stories that you've seen those monsters working, right? So the safety was the first thing. And what we want to try to do is we want to try humans do more human jobs than the robot jobs. There's no fun in sitting in the truck for 12 hours and keep driving from location A to location B, right? What we wanted to do is we wanted to make this transformation happen. It's safe for human and it is safe for the business to operate for a longer term.
That's fantastic tech. Next question I have for you is, you think back in your career to the technologies that you've worked with, which one do you think provided the best value for yourself or for Imperial Oil?
I'll say the best value we have received, I would not say as Imperial Oil, but as the whole industry. We've seen that, you might have heard about the International Space Station where there are people, they fly there for 6 months, they work in there. They are practically in the middle of nowhere. They still operated successfully for a longer term. So we thought of, why can't we do that for our operations? Why can't we remotely operate the plants, the facilities? And that's what we've done. We've extracted a lot of value out of it. Because again, flying people there, in Alberta, you know that flying out 800 kilometers from your base, operating there, staying there, out of your home base, far from your family for a lot of time, coming back. What if you can get the same or a better value staying 800 kilometers away and operating it with more efficiency? That's what we've done. So we call it remote ops. That's something that, to my knowledge, we've gained the most value out of it.
That's great. My next question actually leads right into this. I wonder if this might not be one of the solutions. In our industry, we seem to be the old dogs now. And there's not a lot of young people coming up inside of our industry. So when I think about the technology you're talking about right now, it's really exciting. What other technologies do you think there is out there that could entice young people to come inside the telecommunications industry?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. So when you say telecommunications industry, we are not base telecoms. We are not the old telecoms. We are new telecoms, and new telecoms that help the industry, help the production to go to the next level, right? So this transformation, telecom has a very important role to play in here, because as a base infrastructure, you can build anything that you want if you have the base infrastructure in place, and the base infrastructure is the telecoms, right? So to attract the young people, what I would say is engage them at the right age, when they are in the school, when they are in the high school. Showcase them that what's the value we are going to get. You are in a time, in transformational time, where you can't just watch back and see the transformation happen. Be the part of it, right? So when you see people doing robots' job, you have an opportunity to jump in, help, and make humans back human again, right? Let robots do the robots' job. So my advice to the young people would be, don't sit back and watch the transformation happen, be the part of it.
Excellent. So Bhav, you've been in touch, or really had your finger on the pulse of tech for 17 years now, heavily involved. What do you think the next big piece of tech is going to be that really revolutionizes our industry?
That's a very tricky question, Chad. I'd say two major things I see that should come, because now we are at the edge where we have gazillions IoT sensors and data collection devices in the manufacturing facilities. Those are pumping the data every minute, every second back to us. We as the humans don't have capability to work on those data and analyze the meaningful results out of it. So the first thing is, I said, meaningful analysis of the data. We call it a data scientist's job, and give the meaningful data back so humans can take the meaningful decisions out of it. And we don't want to overload a plant operator with a lot of information, or an engineer with a lot of information. The information coming is limitless. I call it limitless data from the data lakes. But that data should be funneled through a very important filters. Only important decision-making parameters should go to the humans. Rest everything should be handled by the machine learning or artificial intelligence or whatnot. So again, going back to my first or a second question you asked, that the next digital transformation we'll see, now we are in between of it. To get through it, we need to make humans back humans again. We don't want to make them robots.
So based on the data lake that we talk about, and this limitless or unlimitless data that you refer to that comes from the lake is really incredible, and what to use and what not to use. We recently had a client that for not up in the Wood Buffalo region, but actually just for oil pump jacks, we were able to determine what their best days were, or best months of production were, and what their worst months of production were. And it was just a minuscule piece of data that we pulled out of there. But what was really interesting was their best months were always followed by their worst months. So after some further investigation, what we found was that they were pushing their pump jacks too hard on their best months, getting great production, but going down the following month and getting their worst production. So we helped them find their sweet spot where they got their best production and the least amount of maintenance on their pump jacks, hence the best amount of uptime. And overall, year over year now, we're hoping to see some numbers in the coming years that look much better for them. So really love that concept. It's great. So last question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel, and I wonder if you do as well, that I've missed out on a piece of technology. I look back and I go, man, why did I get in on that?
Yeah.
Is there a piece of tech that has zoomed by you and you didn't give that particular piece a second look, and you look back in your career now and go, I really wish I had done that?
No, not so much, because I'm so actively involved in a lot of stuff, and nobody wants to be the loser, right? Yeah. So I try to get involved in a lot of stuff, and there's one saying that I always say, that the creativity and innovation does not need approval, recognition, or acknowledgement, right? If you love it, just jump into it. Yeah. And try to make the best out of it. So, but I can tell you one thing, that if I have to go back and change anything, yes, I'll go back and change this all fancy technologies, I call it IoTs. How many piece of text you've seen that every time you look at it, you think that this is important, I need it, right? And then you end up with lots of fancy stuff that doesn't talk to each other. And then you figure out how to make them talk to each other, and they don't, right? So that's not what I call a good solution. The good solution should be like a Purdue model, where it is defined, the data flows from where to where and for what reason. Right now in the IoT world, the next big challenge that we did not talk about is going to be, we are merging the layers, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4, and internet for that matter. So the security protocols has to be defined very rigorously, and who owns what. Like the Purdue model clearly states who owns L3, who owns L4, and what's internet. And I really want to see this IoT or the digital transformation devices talk to each other like internet talks to each other. You have Cisco PCs, you have Juniper, you have any other D-Link, whatnot, right? They all still seamlessly talk to each other, right, and make it an internet. That's how I'd like to see. And in coming years, we'll definitely see that the industry asking for that kind of standards and specifications.
So it becomes a lot more organic. I like that concept as well. So really a more skilled approach, where you're doing a proper gaps and needs analysis. So we're not just buying the next flashy thing.
That's right.
And you're doing a gaps and needs analysis. Make sure that flashy piece of tech that you want actually will work and communicate inside that organic network that you're looking to build.
Yeah, I call it as a separate fancy thing versus the ecosystem. So the ecosystem takes everything together and walk as one piece, right? Where everything is interdependent on each other, and they passes the data to each other. Right now what happens is, we think that we are overwhelmed because we have a lot of different disconnected pieces that we are trying to constantly connect them through the third layer, where the delay happens, where the excess energy happens, and the data scientist has to play a big role in it.
Bhav, thanks so much for joining me today on my very first TSI Today. If people want to reach out to you, get a hold of you, how would they find you?
Yeah, I'll be happy to share my details. So my name is Bhavyang, Bhavyang, and my email is pretty simple. It's bhavyang@bhavyang.com.
Thanks again, Bhav.
Thank you so much, Chad, for having me today.